Alright, here's part 2 of the CBR. I was talking about the tab system. The tab system on this, they have rounded tabs. Instead of having a full line of plastic, there's just small rounded tabs. And that's why the tabs are so breakable on this. Same with the lower fairing. The tab system has a rounded tab instead of a full tab, and that's why they're so breakable. The fairing stay is crooked on this, so the fairing is kind of hard to put on, but it doesn't look crooked when you're riding it. Carb issues with these. I had one of these brand new in 1990, and these bikes are very sensitive for some reason. In 1990 I just put a slip-on the bike, and the bike ran poorly after that, even after putting the stock exhaust back on. So it's not uncommon for these to have carburetor issues. The fuel tank comes off easy on this. You have to take the side panels off and the seat unbolts, unfortunately, which makes it harder. Toolkit's also under the seat, which is kind of dumb because you need tools to get the seat off. It does have a side compartment, but side compartment likes to fall off as well. Good thing about the tank coming off is that the radiator cap is under the fuel tank, which is odd, and also the regulator rectifier is under the fuel tank. A good resource for checking your charging system is at Electrosport. They have a step-by-step fault finding flowchart. So even before you buy a bike, it'd probably be a good idea to check the charging system, and you'll know how by reading this. Bypassing the thermostat. So bypassing the thermostat, you're really just connecting a circuit. So you pull the plug off this, it's a wire with a plug on it, and you can get the fan to start just by connecting a wire to the wire you pulled off and connect it to the frame or the negative on the battery. So I have a 2-prong switch on here, so the wire I pulled off of here goes to 1 prong, soldered on, and then you solder another wire and you run it to the negative on your battery, and it draws no power when the key's off. And I just taped it onto the frame. Faded control housings. It's a pretty common issue on Hondas. You don't have to have faded control housings. You can just spray it down with WD-40 and it lasts for a couple of months. In the wintertime, when I thoroughly clean the bike and go over it, I smear clean wheel grease on both covers. I don't know if they really absorb it or not, but it seems like they do. So really any Armor All type thing or whatever, and your covers will look good for a few months. When detailing the handlebar area, I usually just soak all this with WD-40 and then just wipe it down, get off the excess. It's really the easiest way, and it does clean it. If it's really dirty, you gradually clean the bike to a very clean state just by doing that over and over. It had a Kirker on here when I got it. It took me a year to find the stock exhaust pipe, but I finally found one. It was a little beat up, has some dings in it. I was going to use body filler or a JB weld on it, but I decided just to paint it, see how it turned out. So the paint's holding up pretty well. It's just $5 high temperature paint, 1200 degrees. I also painted the foot peg brackets and the kickstand over, had rust on them. I just polished up the shift lever linkage. How I clean the wheels is when they're dirty, usually just the back wheel that's dirty and the front wheel is slightly dirty. I just spray with WD-40 and take a toothbrush to it. The WD-40 and toothbrush technique is really the fastest cleaning technique that I think of. And I wipe it down with a rag that's fairly dirty or whatever, because it's a filthy wheel. And then I do the detail work with Armor All and a clean paper towel. This bike has a stock gearing, and I think it needs one tooth bigger on the front sprocket. It runs at about $6,000, doing 65 miles an hour, and that's a little high for me. I think 5's a better RPM, 5,000. So I like this bike a lot. I like slow sport bikes now. I always look down and I'm going slower than I think I am, so that's a good thing. The bike's pretty comfortable and it's smooth. These do have the Honda Nachi gearbox in the second gear, so you have to take your time shifting to second gear. But otherwise, I'd recommend getting one.